This is Brother Ron Hurd, also known as R2C2H2 Artist. You are watching We All Be TV, News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Can you dig it?
I'm gonna ask you this. Speaking of amendments and rights, what happened at Mar-A-Lago on Monday? The raiding of a former president's home by the FBI of all people. This is unprecedented. It happened on the anniversary, I think, of Richard Nixon resigning from the White House years
that
ago.
the Democratic Party in the country is going to deep.
Soon we start talking, and we'll judge, the powers that be got to fight the power. They judge you there.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. See, when you set precedents, they have a way of coming back to bite you. Now, the FBI apparently has some good cause, but now I'll give you a personal anecdote. It was a federal trial I had as defense lawyer back in 1979. I walked my client. It was a woman. She was in her 50s, and she was accused of harboring a federal fugitive, her husband of 29 years. And I got her acquitted. He really wasn't a fugitive. A new employee of the FBI was supposed to have issued a subpoena for him as an eyewitness to a bank robbery up in St. Louis. But she made a mistake, and she had, she drew up an arrest warrant for him. So there was a crucial aspect in the case about the credibility of the FBI witnesses. There were 17 of them, and they all testified about how unruly this woman was. Well, I called the retired senior FBI agent who basically retired because he said, quote, on the witness stand, he was sick of the lying deceit that his agency engaged in. They had testified nothing like this happened, and he said, no, I saw them. They're out there. They're lying if they said that. They tied that woman up with a 20-foot telephone extension cord to a straight back chair and giggled as they kicked her over repeatedly, and the back of her head would slam to the ground. They did that at least 8 or 9 times in my presence. So we are relying on an agency that has gotten way too powerful, that for years and decades had a sick puppy known as J. Edgar Hoover, who had a real problem with his circumstances and used it for authoritarian oppression. So I'm not impressed that the FBI is saying we had cause to go in. And by the way, there is another little stink that's coming out of this, and as a retired judge, I'm very familiar with it. The judge who approved the warrant that allowed this has a deep underlying animosity for boss Trump. And I'm a little surprised. If they didn't get anything out of this, they made one hell of a mistake, because what they're really trying to do is to avert a whole-scale ass whipping that's going to occur in these midterms. Now, every time over the last half century that any presidential administration is dropped below a certain approval rating, his party has lost control of whatever chamber of Congress they had control of. Now they have control of the House, and they're essentially tied in the Senate. Well, that's going to change. They will lose the Senate, it looks like, and they're going to get slaughtered in the House. And this is comparable, in effect, to what happened in 1994 when they came up with that idiot gun control thing, the 94 bill. and they lost control of the House and Senate to the Republican Party. Well, that's likely to be amplified because, frankly, I'm 75 years old, and this is the most inept, incompetent, and embarrassing administration that's been in the White House in my entire life. And that extends through Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Tricky Dick, Nixon, Jerry Ford, Carter, St. Ron, the Reagan, and Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, the half-breed Kenyan, and Obama, or Sotoro, depending upon which of his official names you use, and the jackass in chief, urban trailer park trash, crook, Joe Biden, and his felonious son, Hunter Biden, crackhead. By the way, there's a national news organization that wants me to be the judge for a mock trial of Hunter Biden with real defense lawyers and prosecutors prosecuting of this mock trial of Hunter Biden that's coming up. So, I mean,
Wow.
I'm always fair and impartial, neutral, and detached professionally, but it ought to be interesting. And, you know, they're starting to release some of the stuff on that laptop now that has gotten unpopular. And it's becoming risky to defend a bunch of idiots. It's showing bids on sex slaves held in Europe. It's showing some interesting stuff that is almost treasonous on some White House tapes that fool had on that laptop. And the question goes, you know, suggests itself of what the hell's going on. There's a lot on there that would be evidence relative to, well, Ukraine has a long indictment wherein in multiple counts thereof, Hunter Biden and the current president of the United States are listed as defendants. Remember Article 6 of the Constitution, we have a treaty with Ukraine that's ratified to assist in apprehension and extradition of criminal elements. Remember, he got up January, going on 4 years ago on C-SPAN. I heard it, and he bragged about it. Well, perhaps I've engaged in bribery when I threatened to cut off the $14 billion loan guarantees to Ukraine if they didn't back this guy off of my son. They went for it. Well, wow, we whoopee. Well, he's no longer vice president of the United States. But remember what I said about precedent coming back to bite you? They just had to go after boss Trump the second time and attempt to get him convicted of articles of impeachment after he was no longer president of the United States. Why? Because under the 12th Amendment, he would not be eligible to run for office again. So they wanted to block his future chances. But I told you, I said, man, they need to be careful what they ask for. They might get it, and they did. And I said that sets the precedent for going after somebody for something done in an office he no longer held, Joe Biden. Now, there are three things under Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution that a president and vice president can be impeached and convicted of. One is bribery, two is treason, and three for crimes in office. Now, they impeached Trump for obstructing Congress and for abusing his authority. Well, let's start with the last one. There's no such cognizable crime as abusing your political authority. Either you broke the law or you didn't. And if you're going to charge him with a crime, cite the crime. There is no such crime on the books. So that was dead on arrival with the Senate, who's responsible for the trial. Obstructing Congress? Well, the dumb bunnies assume that since they are popularly termed congressmen, That was them. But Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution says the United States Congress shall consist of two chambers. One, the House of Representatives, and two, the Senate. So as soon as it got to the Senate, all they did was, hey, we're overwhelmingly majority Republican. Anybody in here get obstructed? Nope. Well, that was dead on arrival. So they wasted everybody's time. The same thing with the second round. They didn't even state a grounds under Article 2, Section 4. There was no bribery, there was no treason, and there was no criminal offense. Now, treason. Oh, he committed treason. Well, the Constitution of the United States is very specific about what constitutes treason and what it has to consist of and what kind of witnesses and evidence you have to have. They didn't have it. So that's dead on arrival. But the stupid bunnies set the precedent of being able to go after someone for an office they no longer hold. So Joe Biden, wowee whoopee, you are subject to being extradited by treaty to Ukraine. And by the way, did you ever wonder why the damn fool did not take himself over there and sent that other incompetent Miss Word Salad over there? Because he couldn't go. Now, the U.S. would, of course, say, we got bigger guns than you. You're depending on us, and we exercise diplomatic immunity on behalf of our president. You can't keep him. Meanwhile, the thing about sending Pelosi over there into the Asian domain is he can't get over there because the Chinese own him. If you saw some of that stuff on the White House tape that Hunter had on his laptop, there's a scene where Obama is sitting on the front of the desk with his arms folded as he always does. And by the way, body language experts will tell you that's being very defensive. It means you are withdrawing because you're lying or you're withholding something. He's saying, let me get this straight. This is to this Chinese representative, a representative of a large Chinese mega corporation. He's saying, I get 10%, Joe gets 10%, and Hunter gets 10%. Well, what are they talking about? It's $100 million cash deposit, cash sum that this guy's in there discussing how he set it up so they can get 10% of it. What is the deal? That's treason that they're talking about. He wants Obama and Biden to order the U.S. Navy to stand down on its aggressive counter patrols against the Navy of the People's Republic of China. And at that point, you get shortly thereafter in military times, all of these admirals and high naval officers complaining about they've been ordered not to do aggressive patrolling. And why is that important? Well, China wants to claim the whole South China Sea is its own private territorial waters because they've got these coral atolls that get within a few feet of the surface, and they build 200-foot square piers or concrete structures on top. They claim that's Chinese territory, and there's a circle around it of 200 miles that they claim. So now they're claiming that the territorial waters of Korea, Vietnam, the west coast of Japan, most of the Philippines, including the massive U.S. naval base there, are all in Chinese territorial waters, so we own the place, we can control it, etc., etc. And the U.S. Navy had been saying basically, F you, how dare you, we will aggressively patrol. Now, thanks to the Obama administration's defunding of certain aspects of the Navy when it came to their ability to do what they're supposed to do, the U.S. Navy and the Air Force issued some white papers last year, and they said, look, if the Chinese decide to invade Taiwan, it's a fait accompli. There's not a damn thing we can do short of going to World War III and start a nuclear exchange. So whoever is president we strongly suggest that you come up with a face-saving speech because there's nothing we can do. The U.S. Navy cannot prevail in the face of the Chinese Navy and land reinforcing American troops there, Marine nor Army. And the Air Force is saying, hey, you cut back the F-14s under the Obama administration. They're grounded and in warehouses, and we just upgraded them with new avionics, electronics, and new engines. We don't have enough F/A-18 Hornets. The F-35 stuff that we have, it doesn't exactly work like it's supposed to. And the Chinese have hacked the computer system so they can ground them. And you've got us operating destroyers that came online starting in 1982, which is 40 years ago, and some missile cruisers that came online back 1974. So, hey, what the hell are you doing to us? That's 48 years ago. So what are we supposed to do when they have all this upgraded equipment? The Obama administration cut down the F-22 production line. We don't even have an operational wing of those things. And the Chinese have 1,200 of their first line comparable fighters. And to show you how good they are, as an ally, we invite India to participate in Red Flag and Top Gun. They use the same SU fighter plane, Sequoia, and they've either won or tied first place in the Top Gun Red Flag composition most of the time over the last decade. So where does that leave us? An ass whipping.
All right, Joe, I got to ask you too about, Trump just got interviewed by the New York State Attorney General office today. He invoked the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, he should.
Yeah, but why is all this scrutiny on? I mean, like, shouldn't Biden, like all the stuff you laid out over the last 10 minutes, shouldn't Biden get a lot of more scrutiny than Trump right now since he is in the office?
Yes, he should. But you see, we have allowed the imposition of fascist methodology into the American system. There's always been a temptation, but because it wasn't somebody preaching right wing authoritarianism, but a certain type of sexual instruction to children and a certain worldview, it was overlooked and approved because now we're into no one should be made to feel uncomfortable. We can't have hate speech. We can't make anybody feel bad. We can't shame. Well, the same fascist methodology that the right wing used to be about or think about is now being implemented. So that's what's running in here with why they're going after Trump. Now, I always told my clients, hey, man, take the fifth. Don't try to explain yourself away. Well, what about somebody? Forget what somebody thinks. It doesn't count. What counts is what they can use in evidence that you give to them as evidence. Remember, anything you say can and may be used in evidence against you. You have a right to remain silent. So, what the hell is wrong with a citizen of the United States? Trump is a citizen, former president, chief executive. What the hell's wrong with him exercising the rights that everybody has? Not a damn thing, except we've got mainstream media trying to play the tabloid thing and make it look like somehow or another it's circumspect. And by the way, that crap like they have with this January 6th committee is absolutely ridiculous because the only way anything can come out of it is for a U.S. district attorney to get a grand jury to indict somebody. Congress can't do anything about it. But they're having a showpiece thing to keep their asses from being whipped so badly in the upcoming midterms. So what they also have a danger of, we saw back when they tried to run this inept series of hearings about Ollie North back in the 80s.
Yeah,
they got convictions, but the convictions got thrown out because they violated his rights when it came to Fifth Amendment considerations. So once again, they're off on their self-righteous high horses. And they're saying, oh, wow, whoopee. We have to get to the bottom of this. We're going to use the FBI that has a long history of inappropriate use.
Mm.
The FBI came into existence back before World War I when their founding purpose was to do something about this Negro, Jack Johnson, who was world heavyweight champion that liked to hang around with white women. So they wound up getting the Mann Act, and you saw what happened with R. Kelly with the Mann Act,
Right.
about transporting women across state lines for illicit purposes. So Jack Johnson was actually married to this particular white woman, and they were going on a trip to Europe. So they had to pass through Georgia for 15 minutes of train ride. Now, Georgia at the time did not allow interracial marriage. So by their standards, he had committed a crime. So as soon as they got through to the last stop in the state, federal agents get on board the train and arrest him for what they arrested him for. He gets convicted, he escapes, goes to Europe where he is prospering. And his mama is I gotta see you, baby, before it's too late. Please come back. He tried to sneak back in, got caught, flattened his sentence, and he got killed in a car wreck in 1946. Now, interestingly enough, the half-breed boy, Obama, would not pardon him, but Trump did.
Right.
And you have to understand, a lot of people don't get it. To my parents, my grandparents, Jack Johnson was Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
He whipped everybody and thumbed his nose at the racist or those who were wrong. So he was a hero. That's what I always heard. So the black president wouldn't do a damn thing about it, but the bad guy, the mean tweeter type, he pardoned the man.
That's so good. Trump's like, Brock seems like he's afraid of his own shadow. He just can't stand anything too black. Yeah.
By the way, this here, I'm doing service and selling sauce.
That's
So
right.
it's JJB for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee in 2023. Send Brown downtown. And if you want the best sauce you've ever tried, Judge Joe Brown, JJB Barbecue, BBQ.com. You can order yourself some, and in a little while, it'll be on the shelves of your local grocery stores. So get a jump on the summer. It's some really good stuff. JJB BBQ and JJB in 2023 for mayor of Memphis, Tennessee.
That winning combination. That barbecue sauce is good, Judge. It goes good with just about everything and anything.
Yes, it does. French fries included.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014, and so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.